Hi everyone, you're welcome to another English class here at LearnCity. Today we'll be looking at linking verbs and complements. Now, this is central to understanding the nature of subject complement in a sentence. This is central to understanding what a subject is, what a complement is, and the differences, and even in the nature of agreement. Now, the discussion of linking verbs is a sine qua non to the nature of subject-verb agreement in the English language. Subject-complement agreement in the English language. Now, what are linking verbs? Linking verbs connect the subject of a sentence with its complement. So you have a subject here, which is the performer of the action or the entity or the nominal entity that the sentence revolves around or focuses on. So you have a subject, which is the performer of an action. Then you have this linking verb that connects the subject and its complement. Now, linking verbs are otherwise known as copular verbs. Now, what is a complement? A complement is a word that describes an entity or tells us who or what a subject or an object is in a sentence. It means a word that describes an entity or tells us who or what a subject or an object is, or the profession or the attribute or the feature. That is what we call complement. Now, it can also be a word that completes the meaning of a sentence. A word that completes the meaning of a sentence. And I'm going to give some examples. But before that, complement can exist as nominal complement. That is when the word is a noun. Okay, when the word that describes or tells us who a subject or an object is a noun. So we call that a nominal complement. Or it can also be an adjectival complement when the word is an adjective. Now, in some cases, we can also have complement of a preposition. This is the word that completes the meaning of a preposition. That means the preposition might not have been meaningful or rendered meaningful without a complement. Now, let's look at these examples. Mr. Olu is a farmer. Mr. Olu is a farmer. Now, here in this example, you see Mr. Olu as the subject, right? Then you see a farmer as a word that describes who Mr. Olu is. Do you understand that? Now, Mr. Olu is the subject. Now, we define a subject of a sentence as the performer of an action or that entity that the sentence focuses on. So in this case, Mr. Olu is not performing any action, but then Mr. Olu is the entity, is our central focus here. So we say Mr. Olu is a farmer. Now, Mr. Olu is the subject of the sentence, okay, or subject of the verb is, then a farmer is the complement. Now, because we understand a complement as a word that describes who or what a subject or an object is. So in this case, we have Mr. Olu is a farmer. We have a farmer here as the complement. So now we can say that what links Mr. Olu with a farmer, what connects the subject and its complement? We have the verb is. So that is why is called a linking verb, because it connects Mr. Olu, which is the subject, and a farmer, which is the subject complement, which is the complement in this sentence. So is now is a copular verb, is a linking verb. Now we have another example like the poor child feels hungry. Not feels hunger now. The poor child feels hungry. Now in this example, you have the poor child, who is the subject, feels hungry. Now hungry describes how the poor child feels, right? So hungry there is the complement and the poor child is the subject of the verb feels. Now you see feels now as a verb that connects the subject and hungry. That's how we look at it. So in the first example, a farmer here is a subject complement, right? In the second example, hungry is a subject complement. Now in the third example that we have here, the businessman seems honest. The businessman seems honest. So we have the businessman, then we have honest as a word that describes how the businessman feels. Now in the examples I've said, a farmer tells us who Mr. Olu is, right? Great. Hungry in the second example is a word that describes how the poor child feels, and so does honest for the businessman. Clear? Yes, that's fine. Therefore, a farmer, okay, hungry and honest are complements of the subject that we have in the example. Now, since the farmer is a nominal complement, is a nominal entity because a noun, all right, a noun phrase, okay, if I'm going to call that properly, that complement will be called a nominal complement. And for the case where you have the poor child feels hungry, hungry is an adjective, right? So adjective will be called, that complement will be called an adjectival complement. Now in the third example, you have the businessman seems honest. Honest there is an adjective, so that will be called an adjectival complement. Now, following these previous examples that I've given, you will realize, or we can identify the linking verbs as is, feels, seems, because they connect the subject with their complement, right? So that is how it works. Verbs like the forms of verb to be, okay, is, are, was, were, right, they are considered as linking verbs. For instance, when I give this example, I'm a teacher, right? I am a teacher. Now, I am a teacher. Now, I is the subject, right? Because the central focus, the entity, and the teacher here is the complement, because that is a word that describes I. Do you understand that? So, am there is a linking verb because it's a verb that connects the subject with its complement. That is great. Now we can have the women are beautiful, for instance. Let's have that example. The women are beautiful. Now the women are beautiful. You have beautiful as a word that describes what? The women, and you have the women as a subject. So beautiful is a subject complement. And what kind of complement? It's an adjectival complement because beautiful is an adjective. So basically now we have two types of complement. We have an adjectival complement and we have a nominal complement, depending on whether the word is a noun, what is an adjective or a noun. Now are there in the women are beautiful. Are is a verb, is a linking verb. It's a verb that connects the subject with its complement.